Hello, guys. How you guys doing? Hopefully, you are doing awesome today. And if you are not, I pray God for you to give you a better one. Guess what, guys? I am doing this juicy, delicious meatball. Yes. I am gonna show you how to never, ever, ever have a dry meatball again. So now, as you can see, I like cooking with fresh ingredients if possible. So now I'm having my typical stuff, onions, bell peppers, celery, garlic, little ginger, um, egg, and I have one egg. And I also have some lime. It could be lime or lemon. So I have some basil. Also, if you want, you could put thyme. I will use some pasty as well and some Haitian seasoning. I love my Haitian seasoning. So what meat I'm gonna cook today? The meat we are choosing, or I chose to cook today, would be dog meat of a turkey. We're gonna have ground meat, a turkey, and you see I'm soaking a piece of bread and a milk. And this milk, it's half and half. It could be whatever milk you want. And this what will make your meatball not hard. Trust me. And I'm putting some water mixed to it. You could use salsa water, whatever brand, it's fine. So what this one gonna do, it's gonna make it fluffy. So I'm seasoning my meat right now. You can put whatever seasoning you feel comfortable. So I'm showing you really the technique how not to have a dry meat or hard meat meatballs. So basically I'm mixing it with my hands. I love using my hands. Hopefully you don't mind. I like to feel the food. Like me and cooking, it's kind of like a relationship, you know what I mean? Like I like to know the meat, like I like to know the ingredients and talk to them and all this kind of good stuff. Don't even pay me any attention right now. So, but anyway, let's just be serious. No, what I do, I crack my egg and I will remove that little white part. Because in my culture, usually they say you have to remove it because it makes the thing smells like eggy. So I just removed it. Now I'm smashing everything together, mixing everything together. Now pay attention to it. You see the separation from the meat, right? You see how if you cook that meat just like that, it's gonna get hard. So because and this protein, when you put that heat on it, it's just gonna go like it's like a stroke. It's gonna stay stiff. So what you do, you're gonna add that egg. By the way, it doesn't have to be milk in the bread. It could be simple water, but I chose to put some milk instead. So you're gonna put some of that bread with milk, soak in the milk. You want that same consistency of that meat because they're gonna mix together. Once they mix together, really, you're not gonna see any difference. You're not gonna know, oh, there was a bread in it. I'm telling you, some people are afraid. Just don't put too much. Like for example, if I just use like about like probably you could use like a 1/8 or even 1/10 of that bread, because it's not like you don't want too much of it because it's not gonna taste like a meatball. So now look, I want you to pay attention how it was separated. um Now it's gonna turn to a paste once you do that, because it's not just that fat, it's not just these muscles together. Or they didn't want to separate before. Now you once you put that. So now my meatball is very vulnerable because I add the eggs to use it as a glue, and then I have my bread. It's gonna make it fluffy because of the heat and even the sparkling water as well. And I add my milk to keep it juicy. So anyway, someone did ask me about the eggs before, why putting eggs in the food. Eggs kind of like play a role, like almost like if it's a glue. It's a glue to put things together, not just make things delicious, but sometimes you can add your eggs to make your thing more together. You don't want it to break because this meatball is very soft. Like it now, it's become so soft. You see that? You see how soft it's becoming? Like, look at that. So this is why, because if you cook your meatball while it's stiff, definitely it's gonna cook stiff. Now I'm gonna make this meatball. I'm holding the camera with one hand because I don't have anybody with me right now. So I didn't want to not film it, so I'm gonna use one hand. So that meatball is not gonna be perfect, but it doesn't matter because it's gonna be so delicious, you know. So anyway, I am not gonna fry these meatball, and I am not gonna bake these meatball. Yes, I'm gonna steam these meatballs until they take the shape. You will see later. Now I am getting ready to start saute my vegetables. I'm gonna give you another trick. When you saute vegetables, like you're not boiling them, you can drop the vegetable first. If the vegetable have some water left in it, it will dry. But normally people put the oil first. I'm not gonna put like so much oil because that meatball alone, it's already loaded with fat. You know that. You don't even have to put oil in it at all. Sometimes I just like saute thing, something non-stick, so I don't have to put oil. But anyway, so now we're gonna saute this. How, when are you gonna know if it's ready? It's when you see that little thing start to look like, you know, translucent, like, and then they start to get brown. Because this is when you building like flavor. It's important, like when you frying your spice, like don't let it burn. It's very important because once you let that thing burn, you kind of like ruined it because all the flavor gonna taste like burnt, really. So this is why you have to be very, very careful not to leave and then let the thing go watch TV or anything like that. I'm talking to some people because when they cook, they like going and then when they turn, the thing gets on fire. I'm not naming anybody. Anyway, so yes, it's important that guys like keep turning it until it gets to the point that you feel comfortable, like it's cooked and that flavor. And guys, you should smell of this thing. It's amazing. I put some basil and some parsley as well. So I'm waiting for it to cook. And the minute that it's cooked, I'm gonna pour my sauce. Sometime I use tomato paste, and then I add water to it after I fry it. Or sometimes I use like ragu if I have it available, like tomato sauce. If I have even marinara sauce, I can put in it. So it really doesn't matter what you have around you. You can do it. And on time of emergency, I also put green onions as well. In time of emergency, one time I use ketchup because you know I didn't have any of these things around me but ketchup. But guess what? When you're using ketchup, you have to cook that ketchup really, really, really for a long time because otherwise it's gonna taste like ketchup. So you want to cook it like until it tastes like a tomato sauce. Anyway, so now you could see my veggie, they are ready. So now it's time for you to take your tomato sauce and put it. So now as you can see, I had a like, well, I do next to it I have like a water's boiling, so it's for me to use to add in my sauce. I don't like to use cold water when I'm cooking if it's possible because I don't like to wait for long, so it would save me time. Now there you go. I am cooking that um tomato sauce because like I don't like to dress. I know some people, they just drop the tomato sauce and add the meatball. I feel like these things don't have enough flavor for me, at least. I like to add extra flavors if possible. Okay, that's why I like to make homemade tomato sauce. But this time around, like when I don't have them, I use whatever I can find. So now you see it's very thick. I'm gonna add some water to it. Now, if you want it with a lot of sauce, you can put as much as you want. Me, I don't really like it with a lot of sauce. I just want it to be like thick, but not too thick. I add some water because I have to cook my meatball. So more this thing's gonna cook, it's gonna, the steam gonna go evaporate and then the thing's gonna get thicker. So basically this is enough for me. I'm gonna add my meatballs. Sorry, I'm so sleepy and just like voiced over this. um and I'm adding my meatballs right now, so not rush to mix it. Just think of it if you were cooking an egg. Right now, it's in vulnerable stage. You don't want to stir it. You don't want to do anything to it. Just let it be until probably 1 or 2 minutes. Then you could turn it. Because if you do it now, what's going to happen? It's like you having a ground beef something. It won't be a meatball anymore. So basically, you can leave your fire on high or medium high, it doesn't matter, even on low. You can choose to cover this, or you don't have to, if you want it or to stay, because when it's steam, it's the some of that juice evaporate. I'm also cooking some pasta. Pasta is not important right now, it's just I want you to focus on the meatball. Last time I cooked, it was more about the pasta. Today it's more about the meatball, because every time I cook this meatball, people always asking me why it's so light and fluffy and why is it so juicy. It's one of these things that I do. I add the buttermilk that keep it juicy. I add some bread that separate. So between the bread and the salsa water, it really helped the meat to relax, because the salsa water, there's like a lot of bubbles that creates little pockets inside of the meat that will make it light. And also remember, the bread also has some yeast, that will separate the meat. So that's basically what it is. That's the secret. I give the secret away so you can do whatever you want. For now on, it doesn't matter what kind of meatball you getting, if it's chicken meatball, beef, pork, whatever, you still gonna have juicy like this and soft and puffy and melt in your mouth. Hopefully you enjoy my videos. It's time for me to say goodbye. Remember to share, like, subscribe, share it with your family, and please subscribe, it's important, otherwise I'm going. Anyway, guys, thank you for those of you already subscribed. I really appreciate you. Be patient with me, guys. I am cooking every time I am available. So if you do press the notification bell whenever I have something new, you will be the first to know. Anyway, I'll see you another time. Hopefully you did enjoy my video and my juicy, yummy, delicious meatball. It's like really, really, really good. You guys should try it. And when you try it, like, use your own spice if you want or whatever. So I just show you the technique how to never have a hard, harsh, and dry meatball ever again. So if you apply that technique with the buttermilk, we had like the bread that expand the meat, like I said before, and then we had the salsa water that's just those little bubble, like, will make it like a little bit lighter, like fluffier. So that's basically it, guys. It's like, really, with food you really have to pay attention to detail, because sometimes people don't. That's why sometimes you give someone a recipe and they don't do exactly what you do, and they don't get the same result. So I had to make so many mistakes before I could just like make this meatball to perfection, in my opinion. So I think with cooking, it's more like a relationship with me. Like I said before, I sound lonely. Anyway, so it's just like you really have to respect the ingredients. I think sometimes when we're cooking, we overpower thing, and then we also have to understand that
Like when we cooking, we're not just cooking for ourselves, we're cooking for many people. So learn how to accommodate to other people, you know. And by the way, so just because you learn something one way, it doesn't mean there's not other way. Because I know a lot of time people like to correct people, say, well, no, that's not the way. You know, I was the kind of like person in my kitchen, like my father used to be like, oh my god, what is she doing in the kitchen? Just watch her, what she's doing, I'm nervous. And I would come up with something until they could trust me, because I like to, you know, experiment in my kitchen, like until I get to what I'm looking for. So basically, don't be afraid to make mistake, really. Just like do whatever. I'm showing you one more second time if you didn't see. So these is the vegetables that I'm putting with some herbs. Whatever herbs you use, it's fine. I have onions, bell peppers, parsley. I have some Haitian seasoning, and I have some salt and pepper as well, you know, and Creole seasoning. Like I just like mix these things together with my meatball. Watch again. You see how this meatball kind of like a big like chunk. Like once you put that bread, look at the pockets in the bread, so it's gonna expand. So now you make it, you put it in the buttermilk or whatever milk you're putting it will expand. And one person did ask me about the eggs. Why did I put eggs kind of like a glue. Sometimes when you make a mistake, if you have something, you had something too runny, you can always add some eggs to put it together to make it like creamy, you know, like instead of runny. So anyway, I add some salsa water and that, so it's gonna create a little pocket like inside of that meatball, and it's gonna be like flowing. If I was putting like a lot of it, you would see this meatball go on top of your gravy or your sauce, whatever. But I'm not doing that. So this is how I marinate it. Like one more time showing. I like to show things twice just in case if you didn't get it and then you get it. So I'm mixing it, like, you know, really going at it, and then make sure everything have some love. And after that, once I'm done, I will basically like these things you do already, that's what's gonna make it stiff. Because like you see how I'm just like, you know, pressing it down. So but once I add that bread and that milk, the eggs, like I said, it used as a glue. I mean, you know, like, and then you remove whatever you remove. We always remove this in my culture anyway, we don't eat that. If you give somebody, a Haitian person, that, they're gonna like probably throw it at your face. Anyway, so yeah, my people are violent sometimes. Anyway, so you mix it really well. Like every time you put a new ingredient in something, you have to mix it well. Otherwise, one part would have some and the other. But that's why you like, oh, this one tastes good and this one doesn't taste good. So you have to make sure all of them like things. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just like breaking the meat. Like it's kind of like they married, like they don't want to be separated. And the bread is kind of like a divorce paper. I can't believe I'm saying that. Anyway, it's kind of like a divorce paper. It's just I will come between them and say, listen, I need air, I need space in between you two, like, you know, together. So this is the bread, the bread with the buttermilk, like it's soft now, it's the same consistency with the meatball, because you don't want it to be chunky and then people gonna get a piece of bread. Like you don't want that. It's really what how much you put. Well, I would say if you have like about 10 pounds of meat, you put 1 pound of bread. That's it. You don't put too much because you don't want it to taste like. But I know sometimes in the restaurant, people, you overdo it. Like you really overdo it. You put too much bread and nothing. And my meatball, I don't like to put flour like to coat it. Like I don't like to do that. Like I just like if I'm eating a piece of meat, I like my meat to be like a piece of meat. Like I don't want, like, you know, biting on something it's not. So I already put that bread, it's enough, you know what I mean, like enough of stuff I'm putting in that piece of meat. So anyway, I'm mixing it. Once you start, like you do it, like look at how it turns to a paste. It's there's no big clump here, then there and there and there. So it's like really smooth, it's like really soft. So the same way you see it like that, either if you fry it, if you bake it, if you put it in stew, if you put it like in if you put it like in like you let it steam or whatever, the only thing when you're steaming it, even when you fry it, you don't want to move your stuff too fast because it's a ground beef, it's not one piece of meat. So if you move it before, that heat will just like put this meat together, like it's kind of like hugging each other. It needs that heat to stay. It needs like that heat to transform it to the shape that you put it. But if you put it in a fire that's too low, and then mix it too quick, you will end it up with a ground beef or ground turkey or ground whatever stew instead of a meatball. I mean, the shape could definitely be better, but like I said, I'm using my camera with one hand and I was cooking with one, so I didn't want not to post something and I didn't have people around me, so you're welcome. Anyway, guys, watch it again. I don't have to talk all over it again because I already say what I said. I probably will cut it because this video is kind of too long. I probably will cut some of it once I'm done. So anyway, so you let your pot get hot. Like right now there's some water in it. I'm trying to let that water vanish. Then I will add my veggies, which is onions and celeries, and I like using these things. I think like it's something I'm used to eat in my country, so I'm comfortable with them eating them. So I put a little oil, about like a 2 or 1 tablespoon or teaspoon. It doesn't matter if you have a non-stick thing. Sometimes I don't even put oil because the meat, it's already fat, so all these oil is gonna be released after you done cook your thing. So what you can do, if you're concerned about the oil, you don't have to worry. You could take a napkin. Once you're done, you dip it to that oil part, like, and then it would suck it. Or you just take a spoon, you scoop it up like your meat, and then you serve it. It depends what you're serving it. Like sometimes certain things they want a lot of fat. So anyway, yeah. So basically, you do not want to burn when you're frying or saute something. Do not burn it. I don't know how many times I had to tell people, don't burn it, don't burn it. If you burn it, throw everything away and start over, because once you burn that thing, you ruin everything. Okay, and I used to be a master of burning thing. I'm just like telling you this from experience. I used to have a special skill, guys. When I cooked rice, I was so horrible at cooking rice. I used to cook the rice somehow. The bottom part will be burned, the middle will be soggy, and the top will never cook. I didn't know how I earned this skill. Like it took me a long time to finally make a good rice, but finally now I'm there. I'm comfortable. I can cook rice any type of way. But like trust me, I used to be like horrible at cooking, so it took me a while, to learn on my own, and then I took like tip from the maid. I feel like the maid guys, they are the best cook many time, many of them, and I feel like people don't give them enough credit. Grandma, oh my god, grandma's food is always the best, and I was like grandma's best friend. Like I was the child that's always stay in the kitchen, like talking to the old folks. Anyway, so I took a lot of tips from them, and I also watch like the cooking channels, and I have many books, so I take tips from anybody, like every culture. And I, as a matter of fact, I'm still learning, so you have to be really humble when it comes to cooking or whatever in life, because you should never feel like you know everything. So you guys welcome to give me your tip, how you do your stuff, how do you like your thing. So right now my vegetables are ready. So it's kind of like the same thing if you would put dry onions and dry thing like that's, but instead of me doing that, I'm putting fresh, because the fresh in my opinion tastes way better, like 10 times better than the dry, but that's just in my head. So if you don't have fresh, like you can definitely take frozen one, you can take, but like frozen one, when you saute it, it's like it's very run, it's like there's a lot of water in it because like the ice. But if you can't find it, you can do whatever you want to do, like you can do, what am I saying, I'm so tired and sleepy, I'm sorry. I'm voice overing this. So I put my tomato like pasta sauce. Sometimes you could have homemade. If you don't have that, you can also use tomato paste. I know in Haiti most of the time you guys use tomato paste. And by the way, guys, I really want to do this video in Creole, and I post a video and asking you to follow my channel and stuff like that. No one respond. So the people that responded like to my thing was like people that speak English, and this is why I am struggling to do this in English. So because I really wanted to do this for my community and stuff like that. But anyway, maybe I'll find a way to do like two channels, like one in Creole and one in English. But for now, I'm just focused on one because I have too many things already to do. So anyway, let's go back to cooking. So now I am placing my meatball. Leave a little space in between them because you know they're vulnerable, they're gonna stick to each other if you don't. And when you're gonna put it, you do not want to put this in a cold anything. It needs to be start bubbling before you put them. And another thing you don't want to do, you don't want to mix it before, like you have to give it at least a minute or two, guys, like before you start turning it, otherwise it's gonna break. You know, it's you're gonna have a ground beef stew instead of a meatball. So as you can see, my meatballs, they're not really balls, to be honest. Whatever shape they are, they're not perfect balls, but you know what, they tasty anyway and juicy. So it doesn't matter. I like to do things like that anyway. I feel like organic is, it's like I like that kind of shape, like everything it's uniform, because in real life that's what it is. We all not the same, we all different. So anyway, guys, so I'm also cooking some pasta for this meatball, but honestly, you can eat it with whatever you want. Like it doesn't have to be pasta. I'm not even gonna focus on the pasta, to be honest, because it's not about the pasta, it's about the meatball. So I'm just showing you all options. Like if you want, you can have it with pasta, but it's like I put like regular thing like salt in my water, some little herb, like, and then I just drop some greens, and that's it. Like nothing complicated. And then when it's done, you drain it and then you have it. When I have something very delicious and like super tasty, I do not like it to compete with other things. I would have something neutral, like something that's not too crazy, like a pasta or bread, like, or rice, so I don't have to have too powerful flavor. I'm a flavor queen. I love flavor, but sometimes I feel like people can over season this stuff. I think you still have to be able to recognize what you're eating. So basically, like I said, we all different. Like some people cannot tolerate like a lot of spice, some people can. So you really have to know who you're cooking for, and who can take this or who cannot take that. Anyway, so it's like getting ready. So I turn them already like one side, so I'm gonna let the other side. You didn't have to do that if you had a lot of sauce. If it was like all over it, so it would cook at the same time. Since I didn't put a lot of sauce, so I had to turn it. And the best way to cook it, if you cover this, trust me, it would cook all the way. It's just like it's gonna be one look a little bit more like the whatever color of the sauce than the other, because it wasn't exposed to that gravy. So what you do at the end, you mix everything when they strong enough to mix them. So anyway, I am remove the water from my pasta, and then I'm putting some more seasoning, maybe because I needed it some time. Like I know a lot of people don't like that. I'm talking about the THM, what? I can't even spell that. THYME. So anyway, guys, that's the one I'm talking about. Because I have an accent, sometimes I have to make sure that you guys understand what I'm saying. And also, I really speak fast, so I have to slow down when I'm voice over thing. Because I'm trying to rush this anyway. Hopefully you do understand. At the end, I just add some butter. When I put my butter, that's the time I'm gonna turn off my fire, because I want my thing to taste like buttery. One thing I do when it's something that you can consume like without cooking it, I don't want to overcook it. Like for example, if I'm putting a butter, like you can eat butter like that. So I could like with a piece of bread or whatever, like I could just like leave it because like then the people will say, "Oh my God, this is like so buttery." Like you know what I mean? Like it's so good. What's in it? Like so it leaves the thing so rich. So I didn't have to put no flour, no starch, no nothing to thicken my sauce because the vegetables, I like that better than just adding a tons of starch in my sauce. I don't like doing that unless if I'm following like one recipe, then I'll do it exactly how they want me to, and that drives me crazy. I'd rather freestyle, to be honest. So this is like so delicious. If you don't like control yourself, you're gonna like, I don't know, you're gonna gain a lot of weight like eating too much of that fatty thing. But guess what? This is turkey, so I guess it's healthier than if it was like beef or pork or whatever. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy my video. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you another time with another video. Bye. Adios, amigos. I'll see you next time if God spares life. Bye bye. And oh, by the way, before I leave, these are other stuff I made with fried meatballs, baked meatballs. And guys, you got this. You can do it. Especially those of you who going to college, like mommy's not gonna be there, auntie's not gonna be there to cook you your meal. So you might as well just like